So... I guess we can start Yves' route now that we've finally unlocked it. We probably won't get through chapter 1. Because it's already been 3 hours. I guess that's because I read the whole thing with the final chapter. But still. We'll still start it. Because that's what I said I'd do, and I'll follow through. So, in order to start it, we need to get to the where we can choose the characters. Where we can choose the characters. Yeah. And guess it doesn't matter. And I think we can do this. If not, we might have to just fast forward. Yeah, Yves. Alright, let's find out more about Yves. About time. Let's go. He knew the location. He knew the time. He also knew it would be lost. He was Doctor Who. This just said Yves is Doctor Who. Anko is Doctor Who. Yet the watchman did nothing but look on as the tragedy unfolded. All to fulfill his promise from that day. His usual dry smile was ever present on his face. But on the night of the tragedy, it warped into something truly hideous. A gentle smile, a gentle voice. A strong arm holding me. A large hand patting me on the head. And a terribly sad smile that bloomed amid the black flowers of the garden. Wait, hold up. Yves' grandfather? Oh, well, I guess, no, never mind. I was confused because I'm like, wait, his grandfather? But I'm like, oh, his grandfather is probably alive, or that's how he lived to the age to be able to be a grandfather. Okay, never mind. Like, I freaked out for a sec because I thought there was something. I thought there was something more there. No, it's just... Never mind. In a terribly sad smile that bloomed amid the black flowers of the garden. The image of my grandfather's smile still remains strong in my mind.
ねえじい様、
Grandpa?
どうしてこのリコリスのワージュたちはこんなに綺麗なのに国中の人から嫌われてるの？
The licorice Norwich are so pretty. Why does everyone hate them? Every time I came here, I would trouble my grandfather by asking that question time and time again. My grandfather usually responded with a gentle smile, but said nothing. For some reason, today was different.
理由ならお前も父さんや母さんから習っただろ？
You must have already heard from why from your mother and father.
このリコリスのワージュの花はただでさえ短い我々の寿命をさらに削り刈り取る災いの花であり、
This licorice Norwich, or known as the flowers of misfortune, that endanger our already short lives.
うん、それは知ってる。
Yep, I heard that before.
だから父様も母様もこの花園が枯れればいいのにって毎日言ってるんだよね。
Which is why Mom and Dad keep saying that the garden should just wilt already.
でもだから不思議なんだ。じい様はどうしてそんなに嫌われている花を毎日俺に見せようと連れてくるの？
That's why I'm confused. Why do you always show me flowers that everyone hates?
そうだな。
Let's see. Seeing me tilt my head in bewilderment, my grandfather closed his eyes in thought.
いいかイブ、私たちの血筋にはね。
Listen, Yves. It's because of our bloodline.
遠い昔に大事な友達から託された使命があるんだよ。
I was given a mission by a very close friend of mine a long time ago.
使命？
A mission?
そう。自分の命よりも大切なものだ。もう少し大きくなったらお前にも教えてやろう。
Yes, a mission more important than my life. Maybe I can tell you a little more once you're older.
イブ、私たちとは違い、災いの花すらも美しいと愛せるお前のその純粋な心だけは。
Yves, unlike us, your pure heart allows you to see the flowers of misfortune as something beautiful.
どうか永遠に失わないでくれ。
I pray that you keep your innocence forever.
お前のその愛こそがこの呪われた国に必要なんだ。
Your love is what this cursed country needs. All you need is love. Ba-na-na-na-na. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Why did my grandfather smile at me so sadly? He did tell me more a few years later, but those crimson flames burned away the maturity of my memory. In a country called death, the regular loss of life was felt by all. The people accepted that as part of their daily existence. Now that Barreau, whose sudden murders disrupted the flow, had died himself, the people were all somewhat more accepting of my presence, and didn't show as much hatred or disgust before me as before. But they were still keeping their eye on me, since there was no telling when a similar tragedy could repeat. Now that things had settled down, I returned to my duties at the orphanage, helping Mother with the daily chores. If I had to name one thing that changed after those incidents, it would be...
なあセレス、チビどもが引っこ抜いた雑草はどうすればいい？火を起こして燃やしちまうか？
Hey, Saraz, what should we do with the weeds that the kids pulled? Should we burn them? Huh? Oh, well, I don't think there's much to burn yet. So can you leave them in a pile next to the garden? Means was like, but I want to see the fire! Milo's a pyromaniac. Oh, and make sure you and the others don't get too close to the licorice flower bed.
んなの言われなくても分かってる。
Like you even need to
植えて
tell
も
us.
ないのに勝手に増えるから迷惑だよな、この災いの花。
Man, those flowers are such a pain growing all over the place. I know it's a bother, but we can't cut them down. We'll die the moment we try.
なら燃やして一掃できるんじゃねえの？
And then how about we burn them? That's a really bold thought, Milo. If we might die as a result, do you think it would be worth the risk? I was finally able to have these kinds of casual chats with Milo and the others. Cyan Brothies, the founder of the Reliver technology that supported this country. Donuts, who worked in research with him. Mathis, who sought revenge against Barreau, his loyal butler Jean. While I had met many others, getting to know these people in particular must have given me the courage to make these changes in life. Apart from the children here, I was also speaking a lot more of Lucas after his lessons at the orphanage. And the biggest change thus far had to be...
やあ、セレス。今日は天気もいいし、絶好の花壇手入れ日和だね。
Hey, Ceres. Nice weather today. Perfect for tending to the garden, right? Hello, Yves. You're looking very well today. A very kind handyman had been coming to see me quite frequently. Hugo wasn't with him today, but he had been accompanying Yves and playing with the children if he had time. Ever since the incident, Yves often visited us to see how things were going. He didn't say it, but I felt he might be worried about me since I had witnessed so many horrors within a short period of time.
お、今日は子供たちも花壇の手入れを手伝ってるんだ。
So the kids are taking care of the flowers today?
いいなあ、賑やかで羨ましい。うちの花壇の手入れはいつも俺一人で寂しくやってるから。
Sort of envious. Seeing everyone having fun. I always have to take care of the garden all alone. Alone? Does that mean Hugo isn't great at taking care of the garden with you?
災いの花が群生してる花壇なんておぞましくて絶対に近づきたくないって。
He tells me he has no intention of going anywhere near the flowers of misfortune. Oh.
だからって外観で唯一映えるのが
The only noticeable thing out front is...
災いの花の群れってのは店としてどうなんだ？
that awful bed of flowers there. Not sure that's the best choice.
大丈夫なんですか？これ近づいた瞬間に死んだりとか。
Are you sure it's safe? Won't people die if they get too close?
大丈夫大丈夫。みんなも知ってるでしょ。リコリスは傷つけたり伐採しなければ何輪生えてても周囲には影響ないから。
Don't worry, don't worry. You guys know they won't. You don't cause any trouble as long as they don't. As long as you don't harm them or try to kill them. I suppose it does take some courage to walk past them.
そこまで嫌がるほどかな。
Wait, excuse me?
結構美味しいね。
They're not so bad. I mean, they do taste great. Did you just say something? Yves smiled brightly and shook his head. He eats the flowers?
君も繁殖したリコリスに困ったらいつでも俺たちに頼ってね。子供たちがうっかり触れたら大変だろうから。
If you ever have any problems with the Lycorices, be sure to let us know. You don't want the kids touching them, you know? Yes, I'll let you know if we need help. I was very happy now that I could talk to my new friend as comfortably and frequently as this. That said, I was a bit more worried than happy lately. Yves, I heard from Adolf that you've been getting in a lot of orders at Kuring ever since the incidents. I'm worried about you spending your free time with me like this.
俺がこうして会いに来るの迷惑？
Am I a bother to you? Not at all. I'm happy to see you visit every day. But it still makes me wonder whether I'm taking up your time when you have more important things to do.
忙しいのは否定できないかな。今日も依頼からの帰りにこの施設へ寄ったわけだし。
I can't deny I'm busy. I only just wrapped up a job before coming over today.
でも俺だって別に単なる心配や親切で君に会いに来てるわけじゃないよ。
But I'm not visiting out of kindness or just because I'm worried. Huh?
友達になったばかりの君のことをもっとよく知って仲良くなりたいからこうして会いに来てるんだ。
The reason I visit so often is because I want to know more about you now that we're friends.
言うなれば俺の勝手な都合と感情だから君に時間を奪われてるだなんて思ったこと一度だってないよ。
In other words, for my own selfish reasons, I never once felt that you were taking up my time. Oh, okay. I'm happy to hear that. I was certainly happy, but hearing him say it so casually and upfront gave me a ticklish feeling.
それに
And
今日ばかりは少し事情が違ってね。実は君に個人的な依頼があって話をしに来たんだ。
oh, okay. I also came for another reason today. I have a personal work order for you that I was hoping you'd accept. A work order? He wanted me to do something when he was able to handle everything, anything, and everything? Yves asked if I had some time now, so I invited him inside the orphanage for some tea. For some milk tea. Yeah. Yves took a sip, and the next thing he said was something I never expected. Will you marry me? Huh?
この子をクルーンの一員として一時的に雇いたい？
You want to temporarily hire her on as staff at Coring? I blinked a number of times at his sudden request, out of nowhere, which surprised both me and Mother. Yves, who was sitting in front of us, scratched his blushing cheek.
実は君がさっき言ってた通り
What you said earlier was absolutely true.
ブローの件で名前が広がった影響か最近舞い込む依頼の量がかなり増えてきたんだ。
I guess that thing with Barreau made me popular enough to get more work orders than I can handle.
以前は存在すら認識されてなかったシュリーやセルネボルからも依頼が舞い込むようになってきて。
In fact, I'm even getting orders from Schettes and Cernaval, places where my name wasn't known before. Dang. Yves on the road to success. That's a good thing, right? Seeing Yves with a perplexed look on his face, I chose my words carefully. I could tell from his expression that being so busy might be both good and bad, at least at the moments.
それこそ最初はリライバー化の資金が貯まるって俺もヒューゴも喜んでたんだけど。
At first, Hugo was really happy, saying that he could make enough money to save for his Reliver fund, but
依頼が増えるにつれてだんだん最低限の家事や細かいお金の管理にまで支障が出てきちゃって。
as we got more work orders, our general upkeep of the place, especially the bookkeeping side, took a hit. I couldn't help but feel sympathetic. It must be hard since it's only you and Hugo at Karun.
それで人手不足に陥った結果、この子を補佐として雇いたいと。
So you want to hire her for support to help manage what you can't handle?
はい、彼女の家事能力には俺もあの共同生活の中でかなり助けられましたから。
Yes. Her ability to manage things really helped out when we all lived together during our operation. He also mentioned that he heard from Adolf that he helped with bookkeeping for the orphanage. So Yves lowered his head and asked for help with the daily chores and bookkeeping at Karun until things settled down.
ああ、もちろん全ての家事を押し付け
I
た
was
り
wondering what
無茶な依頼に
position
付
we
き合
were
わせ
going to
る
be
つもり
thrown
は
in
あ
his
りませんよ。
route.
俺とヒューゴも一緒に作業するつもりです。
Oh, of course, I'm not thinking of throwing all the chores at you. Hugo and I will help whenever we can.
あなたの人柄はよく知っているし、その点については全く心配していないけれど。
I know you're a good person, so I'm not worried about that, but... Mother looked at me as if to confirm my expression.
この子がクーネに行くならまだしも、長く働くとなると、周囲の人間がどう思うか。
Her helping around Colleen is fine. But if she stays for a prolonged period, what will the other residents say? I see. I'd love to help out, but... if my being at your place makes you into a target for gossip...
女の子の噂話一つで左右されるような仕事をしてきたつもりはないよ。何かあったとしても必ず守るって約束する。
Aww. Yves is a good guy. I don't think rumors have much sway over my jobs. And if something did happen, I promise that I'll protect you.
それでも怖くなったらいつやめてくれてもいい。だからどうかな。軽く検討するだけでも。
If there's anything that ends up scaring you, you're free to quit any time. So how about it? Seeing Yves calmly and persistently convince us led me to a new question. Why?
Hmm?
Why do you want to hire me, of all people? Because he wants to be near us. There are a lot of others who can handle housework. People trusted him too. I was sure that if he asked, there would be a lot of people who were willing to help. Even if we were friends, why would he want to hire someone known as Death? I really couldn't answer the question myself. I posed my question to Yves, at which point he crossed his arms and frowned in thought.
そうだね。そう聞かれると俺自身パッと思いつかないんだけど。
Let me see. Now that you ask, I'm not entirely sure why.
誰かに頼るってことを意識して真っ先に頭に思い浮かんだのが君の顔だったんだ。
I guess the reason is because when I thought about getting help, the first person who came to mind was you. Aww. Huh? Yves continued in a somewhat guilty tone.
だから悪いけど、どうしてとはっきり答えることはできない。単純な話、俺の思いつきだから。
So I'm sorry, I don't have a clear-cut answer to your question. It just sort of popped up, I guess.
け
I
ど
mean, I'll take it.
考え直したところで、多分結果は変わらないと思う。
That said, even if I did put a lot of thought behind who to ask, the result probably wouldn't have changed.
俺は君がいい。君に助けてほしいんだ。
I want you to help me. Simple as that. Help? Me? He's strong and kind, and has a lot of friends. And he wants me to help him? He was personally asking me for help. No one's thought of me like this before. I lived my life as someone weak, someone who always had to rely on others for help. To be honest, I was beyond happy just to have Yves as a friend. But I knew that I shouldn't get too deeply involved, because I might bring him misfortune as death. I also knew I should convince him to ask someone else for help. But
で、断りづらい雰囲気にしてごめん。俺も無理強いしたいわけじゃないからね。
I like Yves. He seems like such a sweetheart. Please don't do anything to change the thoughts. Kinda scared. Whoops. Sorry for making it hard for you to refuse. I'm not trying to force you to help.
考えがまとまるまでいくらでも待ってる。ゆっくり考えてみてよ。
I can wait as long as you need to make a decision. So take some time and let me know. As long as I needed. I was so grateful for his kindness in giving me the choice. Okay. Unable to bring myself to refuse his offer, I could only nod in acknowledgement. At that, Yves stood up from his seat. He then reminded me that I was free to refuse his offer before departing for Corwin again. Or Corun again, not Corwin.
返事を保留にしてしまってよかったの？本当はすぐにでも引き受けたかったんじゃ。
Are you sure you need more time? It seemed you were just about to accept his offer. Mother inquired with concern as she picked up the teacups. I think we should take it. Adolf usually avoided associating with others, but he introduced Yves as a friend, showing how much he trusted him. Which was probably why Mother had tried to stop me from accepting the job offer. Yves equals safety. It also meant that Mother would happily agree with what I decided, whether I accepted or refused. But this isn't just about me. If I'm gonna accept Yves' offer, then I need to make sure I'm mentally ready for it.
少し心配しすぎだと思うけれど。せっかくお友達ができたのだし、あなたはもっと外の世界に出るべきだと思うわ。
I think you're worrying too much. Your friend has come all the way out here for you, so you should go and see how he is too.
なんて過保護にしてきた私が言うべきことではないかしら。
What I'm saying. I'm not allowed to say I'm not allowed to say so after being so overly protective of you? Please don't say that, Mother. I was able to reunite with very precious people because you kept watch over me. Which was why, in order to protect my precious friend's life in turn, I had something very important to consider.
司祭は語らないが、この国にはまだまだ死を招く花の種子が芽吹いている。
We can work for him for a little bit. I can't go into detail, but there's still a seed of budding flower that would bring more death to this land.
この短い間に君が歩んだ軌跡は、所詮序章に過ぎないのさ。
The little you experienced thus far is merely the prologue.
自ら命を絶つ異様な死も、理不尽によって奪われる死も。
The mysterious deaths by suicide. The ruthless murders by force.
この国の呪いに蝕まれ、儚く散っていく死も。
The slow encroaching death by this land's curse.
あるいは、まだ日向にすら出ていないさまざまな死も。
And other deaths that have yet to be discovered.
何一つ解決していない。
Not one of them has been resolved. Was I really safe? What did he mean when he said that to me? I wanted to at least know the answers to those questions before I could give Yves my answer. I'm gonna guess that the whole budding flower thing is referring to Lucas. Otherwise, I have no idea what it's referring to. After finishing dinner with the children, I calculated today's costs in my room as I thought about that ominous warning. Assuming what Anko said is true, how he's suppressing my power as death, perhaps even now, we still haven't really solved the case of Burrow and the mysterious suicides. Anko said so himself, but I remember hearing that Burrow didn't have any backup data at the Institute, so he wouldn't be able to revive. So what did he mean back then? We don't know who Burrow is. We don't know the cause of those unusual suicides. There were unsolved mysteries at this point. The little information we did have seemed to raise even more questions. The royal family's declaration that Burrow distributed drugs was just an assumption. If those suicides were really the result of dangerous drugs, the same thing could potentially happen to those I knew. For example, someone like Yves who asked me for help. Yves is still with the corpse, so if I stay near him, I could help him and get access to information if something should happen. Of course, there was a concern that my presence would somehow negatively impact the lives of those in the corpse. But staying here silently won't help, and if something bad were to happen, it would be too late to do anything about it. If so, let's follow our hearts. After a few days of deep thinking, I finally came to a decision. Yves came to visit again, and I let him know that I would like to accept his offer. Yves responded more enthusiastically than I could have expected.
本当に助かるよセレス。 頼りない
Aw.
天使だけど、しばらくの間よろしくね。
He's so cute! He's so cute! You're a lifesaver, Cerez. I may not be the most reliable, but I'll do my best from now on. Yes, I'll do my best to be of help to you, Yves. If you're hiring me, should I call you something different? Like Monsieur Yves or boss or something? Is he a mafia boss? Monsieur Yves. Hello, Monsieur Yves.
柄じゃないし、今まで通りの呼び方でいいよ。クルーンには上下関係も何もないからね。
No need. Feel free to address me the same as always. There's no hierarchy at Kroon.
それに、せっかく友達になったのに、また
We're
他人行儀に戻っちゃうなんて、寂しいじゃないか。
friends now. So I'd be sad if you suddenly went back to addressing me like a stranger. Okay. Well, I look forward to working with you, Yves. Yves seemed a little embarrassed and chuckled a little bit as he blushed. Oh, he's so cute. He's so adorable. Later, we talked to Mother and confirmed the conditions of my working with them. First, I should commute to his office instead of living there since I needed to manage my work here, and because of my curse. Second, he could take me along with him for work, provided that I wasn't in danger. Yves actually listed out a number of conditions, at which point I noticed. Every one of them prioritized my well-being, being of little benefit to Yves depending on the work at hand. Mother repeatedly confirmed whether he was okay with the conditions he presented, but all he did was nod wholeheartedly. He's such a sweet boy.
その悪意があるよりずっといいのだけど、彼いいように利用されやすそうな性格で心配ね。
I have to admit, I admire the good in him, but I'm worried that he's too generous and could be abused by others. I agree. I wonder if Yves is actually making any money in his work.
それを管理するのがあなたのお仕事ということでしょう。
I assume that's why he's hiring you to assist with his bookkeeping.
セレス、彼が変な依頼人に騙されないようしっかり見守ってあげなさい。
Yves must be protected. Yves, be sure to watch over him so he isn't deceived by his clients. After making my decision and discussing the details, I found myself still worried. A few days later, my first day at work finally arrived. Yeah, we're gonna go make some money. I avoided the busy streets of Koin and proceeded through the suburban area with similar houses lining the road.
久しぶり。もとい。改めてようこそ。俺たちクルーンの拠点へ。君と一緒に働けて嬉しいよ。
It's been a while, but welcome back to our home base, the Karoon. I'm so happy I can work with you again. Yves greeted me with open arms as he stood fearlessly next to his licorice flower bed. You look really happy, Yves.
そりゃあね、開店してからずっと俺とヒューゴの二人きりだったから、一時的とはいえ仲間が増えてくれるのが嬉しくて。
That's right. It's been just me and Hugo ever since I set up shop. I'm glad to have more friends here, even if it's just temporarily. Huh? So you never hired anyone else before? Ever?
一応過去に仲間は募集したんだけど、いろいろあってみんな1ヶ月もしないうちに辞めちゃったんだよね。
Because you best tried to cook for them. I bet that's it. I bet you that's it. It's like, I made you all snacks! Some creepy purple monstrous glob reaching out of the dish he made. That's what had them all running, I bet. Well, I did hire others in the past, but they all quit within a month for various reasons. Within a month? Maybe the job was a poor fit for them. Or maybe the nature of working with handyman was too varied? Due to our short life expectancy, it wasn't common to see people change professions requiring different skill sets. It wasn't because of the country's laws, but rather because many were relievers. The process required them to create a clone as soon as they were able, which would be fixed in a state that would never age. What this meant was that their knowledge and abilities gained throughout their lives couldn't be changed or erased. For example, if a reliever merchant who worked at the Moch changed professions and became a member of the corps, no matter how much training they underwent, their cloned body was already fixed, so nothing would change, not even their build. Worse, their lack of fighting experience would carry over into their clone body, so it was an uphill battle to hone their fighting skills. Ultimately, their experience as a merchant would become the calling due to being the path of least resistance, becoming tongue-tied. Which is why there weren't many relievers around who could work multiple jobs. It was possible that Yves's work as a handyman was relied upon because no one else could do what he did. I thought perhaps the reason many quit so soon was because they couldn't keep up with the variety of work here. Which could also mean that Hugo must have gone through a lot to get used to working here since he's a reliever from Cheddars.
それよりほら、せっかく来たんだから君がしばらく働く職場を紹介させて。
Now that you're here, why don't I show you around the new workplace?
外観はごく普通の民家だけど、その分内装には結構こだわってるんだ。
The outside may look like any other house, but I'm very particular about the inside. Yves smiled and tugged on my hand to bring me through the doorway of the licorice swayed in the gentle breeze. Okay, it's actually pretty normal. Oh wait, this is the house that they were in science, and he was in that room. Being all sad. I looked around to discover a number of dolls and figurines, bringing to mind a certain thought about the room. It feels like a child's secret hideout.
アドルフを最初に招いた時にも君と全く同じことを言ってた。
It's a cute little place. This really is an adorable little place. I kind of love it, honestly. I'd live here. This is adorable. Adolf said the same thing when we first invited him here.
すごいね。義理とはいえ、やっぱり二人は兄弟なんだ。
It's amazing. Despite not being related by blood, you two really are like siblings. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to sound rude.
いや、全然。 むしろそう見えるように整えてるから、理想的な反応で満足してる。
Not at all. On the contrary, I'm satisfied because it was exactly the idea I was going for.
俺、子供心をくすぐるようなものや雰囲気に弱くってさ、一度こだわり出したら止まらな
You're
くな
so
っちゃって。
pure. I'm really a sucker for things that bring out the child in me. Once I become obsessed with something, I can't stop. I see. I'm sure if the children at the orphanage were here, they'd be thrilled to explore the entire place. Yves looked around the room he was accustomed to seeing, then explained to me what his job at Karun entailed. He mentioned it to me before, but this place was not only his workplace but his home. Apparently, it was a shop he opened when he was 14 years old, just before he met Hugo.
活動時間は主に昼間。基本的に困っている人の依頼はよほどのことがない限り断らずに引き受けるようにしてる。
They're mainly active during the daytime, except under certain circumstances. All work orders are accepted to help people in need. He went on to explain that he carved out time to work with Adolf at the corpse, and was often sent to the slums to provide assistance. I quickly parsed through the notebook that Yves gave me, filled with information on the types of jobs done and their respective rewards. Some amounts were pocket change, while several others resulted in huge profits, making his revenue highly unstable. That might also be a reason why some people quit. The instability of revenue. Because like Mother said, he, and like is listed on the books, there are some jobs he takes for, mere pennies. Probably because he's like, oh, they're poor, I can't ask for a lot of pay for them, because, he's such a nice guy. So that would be an understandable reason why some people would quit this job. So the amount you earn depends a lot on the content of the work order. Huh? But I just noticed that you used to charge a set fee for a job you took on when you first opened the business. Not only that, but the fee was really small.
ああ、もともとはここ人助けをするためだけに開いたお店だったからね。
Yeah, that's because I originally set up shop to help anyone in need.
自警団に入ればある程度のお金はもらえるし、お金にこだわるつもりはなかったんだよ。
I get that. I knew if I joined the corps, I'd have a salary of sorts, so I wasn't too focused on money.
でも当時、仲間になったばかりのヒューゴがそれを知った途端。
Things changed when Hugo joined and noticed how much I was charging for my services.
そんなんじゃリライバー化の資金もろくにたまらねえって叱り飛ばして、無理やり金額を引き上げさせたわけだ。
You can't save enough money to become a reliver at that rate, so I forced him to raise the prices for his services. Good job,
そ
Hugo.
うそう。彼に言われてようやく無償の善意を引け目に感じたり、裏を読んじゃう人がいるって学んでって。
That's right. I also learned from him that some people feel guilty getting favors done for free, while others actually abuse. Before he could finish his sentence, someone came in through the door. It's Hugo. Go, Hugo. You go, Hugo, yeah!
よ、元気にしてたか？あの騒動ではあんたも巻き込まれて災難だったな。
Hey, how have you been? You must have been through a lot after getting dragged into all that mess. In came Hugo, who had been absent from Karun for some time to handle another work order. Seeing that he hadn't changed since the last time I saw him, I breathed a sigh of relief.
つか、こいつの突拍子もないわがままを本当に引き受けちまうとは思わなかった。あんた、ちょっとお人よしが過ぎないか？
You know, I'm pretty surprised you actually accepted his random selfish offer. You're too nice for your own good, you know? It almost sounds like you're talking about Yves instead of me.
ま、それもそうか。
Well said.
けど知っての通り、こいつはいつ何をしでかすかわからない無茶なやつだからよ。愛想が尽きたらいつでも放り捨ててくれて構わないぜ。
As you know, this guy's really random and runs on instincts. So if you get fed up by his shenanigans, feel free to leave. Yves is a dear friend, so I would never abandon him like that.
だって。
Yeah, tell him.
なんでお前が嬉しそうな顔してんだ。お前、初めて女のダチができたからって調子乗ってねえだろうな。
Why do you look so happy? You better not be full of yourself just because you made your first girlfriend. I can't help but smile at the two of them going at it like brothers. I wonder how they even met, Yves and Hugo. I imagine we'll probably find out during this route. But I just thought of it, like how did they even meet? We continued and had a casual conversation with Hugo for a long while. Later, at Yves' suggestion that I make myself comfortable, I decided to take a quick look around. The place felt strangely large despite its appearance. And what especially caught my eye was the save menu. That's what caught my eye. That is a lot of options. Alright, what caught our eye? Honestly, it's the kitchen for me. Oop. It's either the kitchen or the bunny. But the bunny is not an option, so it's the kitchen. Which is the wrong answer, but okay, it's fine. I think I can smell something coming from the kitchen.
命が惜しけりゃ触れるな。下手すりゃ味見を壊れることになるぜ。
Don't go there if your life depends on it. Stay away if you want to live. Don't go in there if you want to live. He might ask you to taste his food. Did something happen to you, Hugo?
伊達にこいつの相棒やってねえよ。
He's like, I've seen
何
hell.
度かどころか、
I've
数
seen
日
hell.
に一度こいつの料理を食っては
And it
ぶっ倒れ
lives
て
in
る。
Yves' kitchen. I've been his partner a long time, you know. The guy keeps making me taste test the food he makes. I've collapsed each time. Oh gosh. Poor Hugo. Somebody save Hugo. Maybe I can refuse?
こいつマルシェで買ってきたまともな飯と殺人手料理を混ぜて出すから厄介なんだよ。
Making matters worse. He'll buy delicious meals from the marsh and sit them down at the table amongst his own works of death. I see. Well, the dish Yves made last did look enticing. He heard us! He heard us! Everybody run! I continued looking around the house, with Yves explaining along the way, until we finally came upon a large bookshelf.
ああ、ここには今までに俺たちが受けた依頼の記録が全部残してあるんだよ。
Huh, and this is where we keep a record of all the requests we've ever received from clients until now.
リライバーとして延命した人が前回と同じ依頼をすることも珍しくはないからね。
This is important because some of our reliable clients sometimes ask us to do the same work they asked for before.
参考資料としていつでも読み返せるようにこうして細かく記録を記してるんだ。
Which is why I have every bit of information I can record in these books, so I can go back to them when needed. Smart. I see. He had his clients' names, a sketch of their faces, and what was done from start to finish. The two of them explained to me how each record was written, with as much detail as possible. Yves, Hugo, would it be alright if I looked through those books on the shelf?
うん、それはもちろん仕事の把握にもつながるだろうし、自由にどうぞ。
Sure, why not? It'll help with the work here, so feel free to check them out.
つか、最初からそのつもりだったよな。なんでわざわざ確認なんて取るんだよ。
I feel like they'll be very useful. In fact, we showed these to you because we want you to use them. No need to ask. Well, I wasn't sure how to say this.
セレス、さっきの言葉は依頼に応じて必要な記録を見たいじゃなくて、
Cerez, just to confirm, did you not mean you wanted to look at them when a new job came in?
仕事の合間にいつでも自由に見る許可が欲しいって意味で言ったんだよね。
But whether it was okay to read through them on your own time? Honestly, I don't see why not. Yes.
事情を聞いても？
May I ask why? Because I'm bored. And also, it's good study material. I'm gonna do this job as such study and make sure I know the repeat clients, right? I nodded silently. You two have been accepting a variety of work orders from various people in Koing. So I was thinking maybe Barreau or someone related to him could have been one of your clients. I figured it was worth a shot to check. Of course, it's only a slim possibility. Since we don't know who Barreau really is, except we do, even if he was in your records, it would be very difficult to find the right one. But it felt wrong somehow to just assume things were all over and forget about what happened. Hearing my idea, the two of them had a surprised look on their face. I guess this was just too random. I was supposed to come here to help Yves, but in reality, I was actually bothering him. I think you're thinking too hard on it, honey. Just as I was about to apologize.
言われてみれば、その可能性もないとは言い切れないね。
Now that you mention it, I suppose there is a possibility.
そうか？あの殺人鬼様がわざわざこんな小さい、しかも自警団の一員がやってる店にのこのこ現れるとは思えねえけど。
Actually, he might. Because they're a small operation. If he needed help for something, he would probably go to them. Because they're small. If for some reason Barreau needed help with something, it would be natural that he would go to a small place where he would be undetectable, or that no one would have heard of. That would be hard to trace back to get help from. At least that's how I see it. So, theoretically, he could have asked for their services. I don't know. I doubt the killer would have come to a small operation managed by a member of the corps just to ask for help.
それもそうなんだけど、どうにも気になることがあるというか。
Well, yeah, but there's something else that bothers me.
あ
Yves tilted his head in thoughts.
今思えば、ブローの彼、
Remember when we were chasing Burrow?
俺たちから逃げてる最中、路地の位置を完璧に把握しながら移動していた気がするんだよね。
When he was running away from us, ducking through the alleys, it felt like he knew his way around really well. His words immediately jogged my memory. Come to think of it, he didn't hit any dead ends in the entire time we caught up to him. I hadn't heard of any other incidents apart from the one I stumbled on before.
"まあ、事件の直前に下調べしたっていう可能性もあるけど、
Well, there is a chance he did his homework and studied the town map or something, but
んな頻繁に路地へ出入りする人間がいたら、目撃者の一人か二人は出るだろ
not many actually frequent the alleys. So I'm sure if he was lurking around ahead of time, he'd have been spotted, unless he was not wearing his cloak.
だからこそ、
Yeah, which is why there's a chance Burrow already knew Cohen well enough to navigate the alleys. He could have been a commoner, or at least posed as one, and maybe even previously contacted Kroon. Does that seem likely?
断言はできないけどね。
Yes, but we can't say for sure just yet.
それが間違っていたとしても、選択肢を潰すという意味で、資料を第三者が読み返すのは悪いことじゃないのかも。
But even if the assumption is wrong, it's still worth going through our records just in case. Yves and Hugo looked at me.
まあ、変死事件の方も結局は、自警団でも引き続き調査を進めてるからな。
Well, the corpse is still conducting the investigation into the mysterious suicides.
正直、ブローと絡めて調査するのもめんどくせえし、セレスが何らかの手がかりを得てくれれば、俺らとしても助かるか。
To be honest, investigating Burrow at the same time would be a pain. So we'd be grateful if Cerez could find something. Hugo shrugged and continued. Hugo! I don't know. He said that, though it wasn't obvious, the corpse weren't satisfied with the forced conclusion made by the royal family. Need water. So they were patrolling the marsh every day under the belief that drugs or disease could be a possible factor. I'm trying to think, like, for Burrow's death, a possible factor for Burrow's death, because Burrow was, he died by acid. Someone pouring acid on him. That is not something that can be caused by disease or drugs. They must be referring to something else. So what you're saying is... Yves nodded in response.
俺みたいな素人がまとめた資料でよければ好きな時に読んでみて。
I'd be glad if you could look through them too if you don't mind my sloppy writing.
ブローのことがわからなくてもクルーンの仕事を把握するのにちょうどいい資料になると思うから。
Even if there aren't any leads to Burrow, the information should help you understand the work here at Karun. Right. Thank you very much. I'll read over what you two have done and how you helped people through your work. I'm looking forward to it. This is such a cute scene. I love this.
今の君がどんな女の子なのか、それを俺に教えてほしい。
This really is such a cute little scene from the common roots. He's such a sweetheart. Instead, I want to know more about the kind of girl that you are now.
俺も今の自分がどういう人間なのか言動で伝えられるよう頑張るからさ。
I'll also do my best to show you what kind of person I am, whether in word or deed. In the same way he said those words to me as a friend. I saw my friendship with Yves as something special and unique. I would do what I could to help him here at Karun, just like he asked, and I would return the kindness he showed me in the past, present, and in the future. I made that vow deep in my heart, in response to Yves' smile. Yves went on to show me where he kept safe in their store of inventory, how he did the books, and how to organize his materials. I then did some light cleaning with the help of Yves and Hugo so we could bring in a desk where I could work. Immediately afterward, Karun had his first job of the day, working with the corpse to help procure some materials. In order to ensure that everyone wouldn't be surprised by my sudden presence, I decided to head out with Yves and Hugo to the church that was currently being used as the meeting place for the corpse. It was the same church where the Society of Exorcists sometimes held their gatherings to protest the use of reliver technology. At the unexpected appearance of death,
あれが数えきれないほどの死者を出
does
したっ
that
てい
say
う
mean things about
死
us?
神の女か。
Hey, isn't that the same death who's killed countless people?
バカ、声がでけえよ。あいつはリーダーの妹だって聞いてるだろ。
Pipe down, you idiots. You know she's the leader's foster sister, right? I could feel the fear and confusion ripple through the church. The only exception to this was Adolf, who was assigning his men to the rounds that were to be made.
悪いな。根はいい奴らなんだが。
They're mean to me. Big brother, they're being mean to me. I wish. Sorry, they're actually good guys, but don't worry. I was the one who asked Yves to bring me here so that I could introduce myself. More than that, are you really okay with my looking into Burrow? Knowing Adolf, I expected him to try to discourage me from delving deeper.
過去の資料を読み解く程度で口やかましく言わねえよ。
I'm not going to nag you about reading some records on a shelf.
いやいや、前はその程度のことでめちゃくちゃ言ってただろうが。過保護な兄貴役はもうやめたのか？
Hey now, you were kicking up a fuss over something similar last time. So are you done being protective of her?
過保護が過ぎたと自覚したから余計な干渉は控えてんだ。
So, we love a protective brother. Not overprotective, but just protective enough. I don't have a brother, so it's like kind of cool. I realized I was being overprotective, which is why I'm not saying anything now.
それにイブがこいつのそばにいるのなら俺も安心できる。
And I'm not worried since Yves is going to be with her.
その信頼は嬉しいけど、ちょっと俺のこと買いかぶりすぎじゃない？
I appreciate the trust you have in me, but aren't you giving me too much credit? Adolf spoke in a few words as possible, but I could tell he placed full trust in Yves just from the tone of his the tone of his voice. What a strange and captivating sight. Adolf had always kept to himself, only opening up to Mother and me, so how was Yves able to build such a strong friendship with him? He befriended the brother even I didn't fully know. As questions continued to arise in my mind, I looked at Yves's gentle smile. Our eyes suddenly met. I quickly turned my head, embarrassed that he found out I was staring at him. Oh, so cute. Suddenly,
ちょっと待ってくれよリーダー。その子がクルーンで働くこと自体はもう知ってたし別にいいんだけどよ。
hey, wait a minute, leader. We know she was gonna be working at Karoon, so that's fine, but
やっぱり自警団の活動にまでその子を関わらせるのはその
having her involved in the corpse business is, you know,
やめさせろ。
it's what? It's what? You want her out? The man, obviously flustered, as well as those around us, nodded in agreement.
そ
Screw
れ
you all.
どういうこと？
What the heck?
数日前に俺が説明した時は彼女の事情を把握した上で全員快くうなずいてくれたよね。
I explained this to everyone a few days ago, and you all wholeheartedly agreed with her being here, knowing who she was, right?
これで2人の負担が減って自警団の活動に力を注げるならって。
The idea was that her joining us would help reduce the load and let the corpse focus.
それは
Well,
ああ、反対意見なんて一つもなかったはずだ。だってのに今更になって覆すとかいくらなんでも都合が良すぎるんじゃねえの。
yeah, and don't you guys think it's pretty low to renege on something you didn't voice your complaints about before?
つかアドルフを前に根性座ってんなお前ら。まあ陰口叩くクーネの連中よりかはずっとマシだけどよ。
I gotta at least hand it to you for having the balls to be upfront with Adolf instead of gossiping like the rest of Colleen. Yeah. Right back at you, Adolf. I feel it too.
アドルフの大切な妹ってのは分かってる。それでも怖いもんは怖いんだから仕方ないだろ。
We understand she's your sister, Adolf. But we can't help the fact that we're still freaked out by her.
そうだよ。実際お前が住んでたあの施設でも体調を崩したやつが大勢いるって話じゃないか。
He's right. I heard that a lot of kids at the orphanage she used to live in got sick because of her.
俺らはまだリライバーにもなれねえし、何かあったらなあ。
We still aren't ready to be relievers. So if something happens,
本当にそれだけが理由か。
is that really the only reason?
いやあとは ほら、いざ本物を目の前にするとやっぱ怖いっつか。
Well,
笑いし。
you know, seeing her in person now is scary. Sorry. I was too far away to hear the last part properly, but at the very least, I knew that they were all afraid of me. At that, Hugo let out a heavy sigh. Yves was mumbling to himself, thinking of how he could convince them again. I could tell them that the Watchman of Death was suppressing my powers, so it was safe. And then again, I highly doubt anyone would believe any of that. Still, I knew I needed to say something. I couldn't keep relying on the others. Just as I was about to apologize to everyone for suddenly coming here and scaring them.
こいつは死神なんかじゃない。ただの人間の女だ。
She isn't death. She's just a normal human girl. Adolf's split voice forcefully silenced everyone's confusion.
なんて叱り飛ばしたところで、お前らの不安を払拭できねえことぐらい、俺も理解してる。
No matter how many times I say it, I know I won't do anything to alleviate your fears.
だが、その代わりに。
So think of it in these terms.
こいつを認めることで、ある危険から命を守れると言ったらどうする？
What if accepting her protects us from a certain danger lurking around us?
え？
いいか、こいつ、セレスは、施設の臨時職員として、運営者から直々に家事の手ほどきを受けている。つまり、
Listen carefully. Cerez works at the orphanage every day and handles the chores there, meaning
単純に料理がうまい。使う材料も至って普通のものばかりだ。
we just need to cook our way to their hearts, I guess. We'll win their acceptance with our great dishes. There, that's our solution. The meals she prepares taste great. The meals she prepares taste great. She can cook dishes out of any ordinary ingredients.
ここまで言えばわかるな。お前らがこいつを受け入れてくれた暁には。
I don't need to say more, do I? If you guys accept her and allow her into our group.
夜食の調理当番からイブを外し、代わりにまともな料理を作れるセレスを入れてやる。
I can remove Yves from handling dinner, and have Cerez cook something far better for us instead. That's how you win them over! Huh? Did I hear him correctly?
Huh?
It's like, huh? What's wrong with my cooking? I thought you guys loved it. I thought you guys loved my mystery stew. It seemed Yves thought the same thing I did. Nico was doing his best to stifle his laughter. What a member of the corpse muttered in a different way from before.
イブのあの殺人料理を定期的に食べずに済む。それは確かに魅力的だな。
That changes everything. That's a game changer. Does that mean we don't have to eat Yves' horrible cooking? That changes the situation completely.
けどさ、その料理にだって死神の呪いがかかってるんじゃ。
Yeah, but don't her meals curse whoever who eats them?
いや、
どの道このままじゃイブの料理で死ぬ方が先になるだろう。
Yeah, but we're still doomed if we have to keep eating whatever Yves makes. They are turned and looked at me from a distance, then...
さっきは悪かった。
Imagine, that's what changes their mind. Sorry about earlier.
ちゃんとあんたのことを認めるから、美味しい、いや、安全な料理をどうか俺たちに食わしてくれ。
We're happy you're here, so please make some delicious... No. Please make us something safe to eat. Before long, everyone heartily welcomed me into the group. I'm not sure I feel right about all this. I glanced to my side, and as expected, all three of us, he's sad. Oh,
みんなしてそこまで言うことないじゃないか。
poor baby! The poor baby! Hey, you guys don't have to be so cruel.
俺はただみんなに喜んでもらおうと美味しい料理を作ろうとしていただけなのに。
I was just trying to make something good that everyone could enjoy for dinner. These good intentions. Seeing Yves utterly disappointed. I will. A part of me says to make him feel better, wants to say to offer to sample his dishes. But that's a horrible idea. Praise his creativity. Yes, praise his creativity. Yves, I think you're really creative when it comes to cooking. Remember the way you sliced the fish before? The cuts were sliced so thin that they were like glass. That was impressive, okay, I will say that.
ありがとう。見た目だけでも気に入ってもらえてよかったよ。
Thanks. I'm glad that at least the way my dishes look is good. Our conversation slowly shifted away from what was supposed to be my ability to cause misfortune to others. Still, this feels so nice.
ん？
I whispered to Yves, seeing him still glum after hearing everyone's comments. Even the rumors about me can turn into a fun conversation with you and the others. And I never thought I'd hear the topic shift from my curse to what someone's cooking tastes like.
君がそんな風に笑ってくれるなら、俺もからかわれた甲斐があったかな。
I guess my being the butt of the joke was worth it to see you laugh like this.
でもいずれは君から調理当番を奪い返すつもりでいるから、そのつもりでいてね。
Maybe with enough practice, you can actually cook edible food. I wish you luck, Yves. Let me warn you that I intend on reclaiming my position as the resident chef. He issued his challenge with such a friendly smile. I was filled with joy and relief, knowing that he really did see me as his friend. Still, I wonder why Yves. Hmm? I wonder why Yves is so caring to me, and why he looks after me like this. I bet it has something to do with that flashback of his grandfather's promise to someone. That's like, and it gets like passed down to the family, and something about the promise is like, I don't know, protecting us. But something like that. wouldn't be surprised at all if he actually hated me for what happened. After Yves and Hugo escorted me back, I returned to my room. I sat on the bed and remembered the kind words Yves once said to me. Each time I experienced his kindness, I felt like I was undeservingly accepting it and forgetting how I injured him in the past. I'm so horrible.
「過去を振り返って君に得られるものがあるならそれでいい。でもただ傷つくだけじゃ意味がない。
If there's something to be gained by looking back at the past, it's fine. But it's no good if it only ends up hurting you. Those are wise words.
「だから答え合わせは先延ばしにして互いに勇気を持てたいつかにしよう。
And how about we save it for another day, when we both have the courage to face it? That's right. I can't just rely on Yves' kindness. I need to do better myself. I wouldn't ever be able to fulfill that promise if I couldn't overcome my cowardice. I needed to nurture what little courage I had left through my work at Corinne.
その分今の君がどんな女の子なのか
Instead,
それを俺に教えてほしい。
Instead, I want to know more about the kind of girl you are now.
俺も今の自分がどういう人間なのか言動で伝えられるよう頑張るからさ。
I'll also do my best to show you what kind of person I am now, whether in word or deed. The promise. I needed to confront the past and apologize. And if possible, I wanted to fulfill my contract with Anko and face Yves with confidence. Facing Yves with confidence as a real human being. I want to become a true friend he can be proud of. But I couldn't say that with confidence. Not just yet. Yes, I'm still a coward.
そうか。彼女は彼の隣にいることを選んだか。
I see. So she chose to be by his side.
ならば、私には何の憂いもない。
If so, there is nothing to worry about.
だが、そうだな。
Not sad.
使命のためとはいえ、礼の一言さえ彼に送ることができないとは。
Even if it is fate, she can't even say a single word of thanks to him.
いささか虚しいものだね。
It's a shame, isn't it? Why not? The next day. I headed right to Korun, where I found and greeted Yves and Hugo. Mid-morning was spent mostly on getting rid of all the dust in the rooms. Afterward, I went over their bookkeeping since they hadn't had much of a chance to go through it yet. The work order for today was a job I could accompany them to, so reviewing old client records would probably begin tomorrow. What are we doing today? We stepped outside and got ready to part ways with Hugo near the marsh, since he had another work order to take care of. Since this was my first time going out on a job, I would just be observing Yves and helping out if the opportunity arose.
イブ、分かってると思うが、いつもの調子で彼女を振り回すんじゃねえぞ。
Usual mess? What do you mean by that? Yves, I don't need to remind you, but you better not get her involved in your usual mess.
万が一にも怪我なんてさせてみろ。剣を抜いたアドルフがリコリスの花畑まで追いかけてくるだろうからな。
If she gets hurt, Adolf's gonna chase after you, sword in hand, all the way to the Lycoris field.
俺もリライバーになるまでは死にたくないから肝に銘じとくよ。
I don't want to die until I'm ready to be a reliver, so I'll keep that in mind.
そういうヒューゴこそ薪割りの最中にまた腰を痛めないよう気をつけてね。
And a fair warning to you, Hugo. Be careful not to hurt your back when you chop that firewood, you old man. Is that what Yves is calling him? Is he calling him an old man?
うっせえ、あんな情けねえ姿もう二度と見せねえよ。
Shut up, I'm never making a fool of myself like that again. After exchanging playful concerns with one another, Hugo walked away toward the east side of the district. With him out of sight, Yves and I finally turned and went to see our client for the day. From what he said earlier, I take it you're planning on becoming a reliver?
意外だった？
Does that surprise you? I shook my head in response. It's just that there are a lot of others who aren't very fond of the technology, like the Society of Exorcists.
そうだね。こればかりは。
Yeah, really.
よー、イブ。この間落とした財布を探すの手伝ってくれてありがとな。
Hi, Yves. Thanks for helping me find my wallet last time.
お前が見つけてくれなかったらしばらく飯も食えなくなるところだったよ。
If you didn't find it for me, I would have been completely broke. Wouldn't have been able to gamble.
ああ、どういたしまして。また水路に落とさないよう今度はちゃんと懐に入れて持ち歩きなよ。
Yeah, no problem at all. Just make sure it's secure in your pocket whenever you cross the waterway.
こればかりはね、感情と命どちらを優先するかは人それぞれ。
That's what it's all about. Which is more valuable, emotions or life itself?
どの選択が正解かなんて誰にも決めつける権利はない。
No one has the right to decide which one you value more.
イブ兄ちゃんだ。この間は一緒に自警団ごっこしてくれてありがとう。
Hey, it's Yves. Thanks for playing pretend corpse with me.
今度は私たちと一緒にお姫様とこの衛兵ごっこして遊びましょう。
Next time let's play pretend princess and knight, okay?
わかった。じゃあその時はヒューゴも誘っておくよ。かわいいお姫様。
Hugo can be the horse. Sure thing. I'll also invite Hugo to serve you, my dear princess.
ないよね。ただ俺の場合、普通の延命とは少し事情が違って。
And so in my case, the situation is a little different from...
ちょっとイブ。
There you are, Yves. He's like, oh.
私がお金を貸した娼婦の友達が数日前に行方をくらましてから姿を見せないんだけど。
I sent some money to one of the other girls a few days ago, but I haven't seen her since.
この似顔絵に描かれてる子、あんた知らない？
You wouldn't have seen someone that looks like the sketch, have you?
ごめん、知らない子だな。うちを利用したこともないと思う。
Let's see. Oh, sorry, I haven't seen her. She doesn't look like anyone I've worked for.
よかったら俺とヒューゴで探してみようか。
If you'd like, should Hugo and I track her down for you?
大した金額じゃないし、わざわざいいわよ。
Don't worry, it's not a lot of money.
今のあんたにこんな儲けのない依頼を引き受けてる暇があるとは思えないし。
And I bet you don't have time to handle a cheap job like this one.
君が本当に困ってるなら暇なんていくらでも作る。
I can make time for you if you're really in trouble.
俺は儲けなんかより友人である君たちの方がよっぽど大切だからね。
It's more important for me to help friends like you than to profit off the situation.
前にヒューゴも言ってたけど、あんたってほんとそういうところ。
You know, I've told Hugo this before, but you really are.
イブ、前回井戸を修理してくれたあれだ。うちの妹が焼いた菓子持ってってくれよ。
Everyone loves Hugo. Oh my god, this is so sweet. Yves, here's a little something for fixing my well. They're the cookies my sister baked.
イブ、うちの店で暴れた酔っ払い客追い払ってくれてありがとう。
Yves, thank you so much for taking care of that drunkard in my store.
イブ兄ちゃん、水路で使ってる小舟が壊れたから依頼したいってさっき父さんが言ってた。
Yves, my dad wants you to help fix his boat in the waterway.
私のお姉ちゃんはヒューゴさんと一緒に子供を一日預かってほしいって。
My sis wants you and Hugo to watch your kids for a day.
はい、喜んでお引き受けします。
Sure, I'm more than happy to help.
詳しい話を聞きたいから後で俺の店に来
Alright,
るように
everyone
伝え
get
て
in
おいてくれ
line.
る？
We'll write you down and we'll get your stuff done. Just let's make it official, please. I need to get a few more details, so can you please tell them to come see me at the shop later?
はーい。
Okay. I had heard through rumor how trustworthy and dependable Yves and Hugo were, but not to this extent. Still, I could vaguely sense displeasure and doubt mixed in with the goodwill the crowd expressed. I was death with Yves. Just as things were settling down, was she now planning on cursing him to death? The girl with blood-stained hands had no right to stand beside him. Had she forgotten what she did to him? Not only was I used to such whispers, I also had no right to be hurt by them, because they were completely true. I wasn't sure whether Yves could tell that some of the people around us were staring at me with suspicion, but... After he spoke with those around him, he turned his attention to me. Then would have come a step forward to close the distance.
何度も話を切っちゃってごめん。確かリライバー化についての話をしてたっけ？
Sorry about the interruption. We were talking about becoming a reliver, right? Yves tried to continue our conversation.
君は将来リライバーになるかもう決めてるの？
Have you decided whether or not you want to become a reliver yourself? No, not yet. I'm still thinking about it. I stammered, a bit nervous by how close he was. I've been saving money just in case, but to be honest, I had no intention of reviving myself and was instead planning to use the money to give the money to Mother if something happened to me. But with my conversation with Uncle returning to mind, I couldn't bring myself to speak honestly about it with Yves.
もしリライバー化を決めたときは早めに行動を起こした方がいいよ。
If you do decide to become a reliver, you should move quickly.
必要なお金を用意してもバックアップの順番待ちしている間に死んだら元も子もないからね。
After all, even with the right amount of money, you could die while you're still on the wait list to get backed up. With that, we set off down the road. The whispers around us continued as usual. Yves gave no indication that he was bothered by them, walking as though nothing was amiss.
なあイブ、お前が連れてるその女って。
Hey, Yves, that girl you're with.
俺の新しい友達。しばらく一緒に働いてくれることになったんだ。
Oh, she's my new friend. She's gonna be helping me at work for a while, too. Despite their doubts and fears, Yves responded in his usual cheerful way. I was actually walking through the crowds of Koin without keeping my head down. This might be a first. Others gathered around Yves to express their thanks as we made our way through. Though they were anxious about seeing me with him. I followed him as he cheerfully walked to see his clients. The first work order of my life that I would be assisting with was... over here. There. Everywhere. Look there, Yves. There's a bird with pretty feathers perched on top of the church steeple. Actually, it looks like it can't fly down. We were here to locate and capture a young man's pet bird, which had escaped from its cage. We interviewed residents in the neighborhood, and many of them reported that a bird of its description was seen around the church. So after dashing here as fast as we could, we discovered the bird mostly unmoving. I suppose we were lucky that it didn't fly out of the country, but...
あれは自力で降りれそうにないね。
I don't think it could come down on its own.
依頼主によると、生まれてからずっと室内で飼っていた子らしいから、飛ぶこと自体に慣れてないんじゃないかな。
They only did say that he kept the bird inside ever since it hatched. So maybe it's not used to flying. In that case...
登って迎えに行ってあげるのが一番安全かな。
It's probably best I get up there and bring it down. Yves rolled up his sleeves and did some quick stretches. How does he plan to get up there? Gymnastics? At Yves' direction, I quickly got approval from the priest of the church and borrowed an old ladder. We took the staircase up to the spine. With the ladder propped against the wall, I held it sturdy so it would stay in place. Yves leaned slightly out the window and stood on the ladder to make sure it was stable.
これならいけるか。それじゃあ早速、迷子の小鳥さんを救ってくるよ。
Okay, this should do. Well, time to rescue your lost little birdie.
俺の体重に耐えられなくなったら、すぐにはしごから手を離してね。君まで一緒に落ちちゃうから。
Oh, but if you can't keep the ladder in place, make sure to let it go right away. Otherwise, you could really get hurt. Yves said so as if it was only natural, despite a thin rope being his only lifeline. No, I won't let go. I'll never let go, Jack. I'll never let go. It's Titanic. I promised Hugo I'd support you no matter what.
それもそっか。それじゃあ少しだけ俺の無茶に付き合ってくれる？
You did, didn't you? Well then, I'm counting on you to help me through this. Yes, absolutely. On our way up the steeple, a crowd had gathered around the base of the church, after having gotten word about it. Yves was preparing to climb up, tying the thin rope around himself. He stepped onto the ladder, and I held into place with all my might. My arms went tense as I felt his weight shaking with each step. But I managed to hold it together and nodded to Yves, who looked back down at me with concern. He gave me a reassuring nod in response, then quickly went up the ladder before my arms could give way. He used his hands and feet to climb up the wall, using whatever holds he could. A strong wind blew from the ocean, as if to get in his way, but Yves simply tightened his grip and kept his body flush against the wall. Good. Just a little closer. The crowd cheered on, and my heart wrenched in suspense. He forcefully pulled himself up to the top and landed on a flat area, safe and sound. Whew. Yves, how is the bird doing?
少し怯えてるみたい。君から預かった餌を使ってみるよ。
It looks scared. I'll use the feed you prepared. I leaned as far out as I could to see Yves. He took out a small pouch from his pocket, then poured a bit in his hands and stretched it outward to the bird.
ほら、おいで。俺は君のご主人様の友達だから、怖がらなくて大丈夫だよ。
Come on, little birdie. I'm a friend of your owners. No need to be scared. Perhaps it was hungry, as it quickly turned its attention toward the feed. I bet it is. The bird cautiously approached the outstretched hand full of minced vegetables. After giving the bird a moment to peck away at its lunch,
捕まえた。
Gotcha! Yves carefully and gently cradled the bird in his hands. Thank goodness. I was worried that you would lose your balance. I let out a sigh of relief so deep that it seemed to let out all the air in my lungs, and the crowd below us rejoiced. But my relief was short-lived. I gripped the ladder tightly again so that Yves could come back down safely. Suddenly, there was an unsettling sound. I immediately looked up at Yves. A portion of the roof he was using as a foothold broke apart. Uh-huh. Before I could do anything, it was too late. My eyes met Yves's as he slipped and fell down. Yves! I grabbed onto his lifeline, but I couldn't stop him from falling. Yves braced for the impact, in a way that protected the little bird instead of himself. He's so selfless. He sank straight through the old roof, disappearing into the darkness of the hole he created. That's...
びっくりした。俺の立ってるところだけこんなに崩れるなんて。
Bruh, you need a hospital! That was scary. I never expected the roof to give way like that.
君に怪我はない？ 自慢の翼が折れてたら飼い主
You're
が泣いて悲しむ
bleeding!
かも。
Think of yourself! You're bleeding, for God's sake! Your hurts? Your owner would be sad if your precious wings are broken.
お久しぶりです、イブ君。
It's been a while, Yves.
こんな形で生徒と再会するとは、さすがに私も予想していま
He
せん
was
で
just
し
there
た。
praying, then comes Yves. Encountering a former student in this way is certainly a surprise.
リュカ先生、どうしてここに
Lucas, what are you doing here?
って、そっか。今日は礼拝日だったんですね。
Oh, wait, you must be here to pray.
ええ、天へ祈りを捧げていたところ、その天からイブ君が落下してきた次第で。
Yes, and it just so happens that you fell from the heavens just as I was praying to them.
俺じゃ先生に加護も祝福もあげることができませんね。
Oh, but maybe you are. Maybe you are. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm the answer to anyone's prayers. But he is. He could be.
今ならカプシーヌ先生の気持ちが理解できるような気がします。
I think I now understand how Dr. Cappuccino felt. Don't. We don't talk about cappuccino here. Lucas pinched his brow together as blood dripped from the cheerful Yves' head. All I could do was stand there in a stupor at the sight of Yves joking despite his wounds.
すみません、セレス君。この傷ではお説教をする前に貧血で倒れてしまいそうなので。
I'm sorry, Cerez. I don't think I have it in me to give him a stern lecture with all that blood.
まずは手当てを先にしてもらっても。
Do you mind tending to his wounds first? Right. Yves, would you mind parting the hair from your forehead? So I can check? Yves nodded in agreement. He walked to an open seat to sit down and parted his hair for me. I needed to see how deep his wound was, so I wiped away the blood from his head. Seeing my fingertips covered in his blood, Yves' brows curved in an apologetic way.
せっかくの初仕事なのに手間をかけてごめんね。
Sorry to cause you trouble so soon after you started. It's fine. Well, not fine for you, but I'm glad you aren't too badly injured. I stared at Yves' blood, then looked up and down his clothes covered in dust. It wasn't a short fall. His hair was hiding wounds, some not so small. Yet he showed no signs of distress, and it didn't look like he was in pain either. Back when he had fought Barreau, he swung his sword valiantly and without fear. It seemed he was just good with pain, but just watching him bear his wounds like that was hurting me. Yves.
Hmm?
Don't yab me! You're injured. I'm worried about you. I voiced an honest thought as I wiped away the blood. As if he didn't expect to hear it from me, Yves stared with his mouth slightly open. Lucas let out another deep sigh at Yves' reaction, then left the room to wash the bloody rags. Yves, I know I'm useless, but that doesn't mean I'll just sit around and watch a dear friend get hurt. I understand you may need to put yourself in harm's way for certain work orders, just like with the corpse. But please at least allow yourself to say it hurts when you're in pain. Of course I'll take care of you regardless. But saying that it hurts can help ease the pain too.
お、うん。ありがと
Okay. Thanks.
う。でも、自分のことを無力だなんて言わないでほしいな。
But in exchange, I don't want you to say that you're useless.
君が命綱を引っ張ってくれていたから、落下時の勢いを少し殺すことができたんだよ。
You do know that the fall wasn't as bad as it could have been because you pulled on my lifeline, right? Really? Well, I'm glad to know that I could be of some help. As we continue to have our open chat, the bird we caught flew above us in circles, chirping as though it was worried too. A short while later, I thanked Lucas for the salve and the bandages he provided. After a short check, we found out that the roof was rotting, which led to the break. We decided that we would talk with the corpse later to see if we could work together to get the roof fixed. It's probably pretty important. We then returned the bird to its family and headed back to Karun. Along the way, Yves was stopped again by the townsfolk and...
小鳥探しの件聞きました。大した怪我じゃなくてよかったです。
My child, Mathis. I heard about what happened. I'm just glad you weren't badly hurt.
教会に僕の方からも寄付を出しますので、もし修繕費に困っていたら、そのお金を使ってください。
I'll make a donation to the church, so if you need any funds, please feel free to use that money.
たまには外出をと、坊ちゃんを買い物へと引きずり出して正解でしたね。
I suppose I made the right call in dragging the master outside for some shopping.
立ち寄ったマルシェは、イブさんのご活躍とセレスさんのお話で持ちきりでしたよ。
Just so you know, the marsh was abuzz with the talk of Yves' adventure, as well as Euceres. Not just Yves, but me too?
無茶ばかりするイブさんがおとなしく死神に説教されたと皆さん驚いていました。
Everyone was surprised that the reckless Yves actually listened to death without putting up a fight. Yves, don't tell me this isn't the first time you've done something like this. Apparently not.
初めてではないけど、そんな頻繁に怪我してるわけでもないよ。
Oh gosh. Someone protect this boy, kid, man. It definitely isn't the first, but it's not. It definitely isn't the first, but it's not like I get injured often, I think. I think?
でも僕、クーネの皆さんが普通にあなたの名前を出していたこと、嬉しかったです。
But I'm happy to hear that the people in Coin are actually talking about you.
ブローも死にましたから。この調子で偏見や誤解が解けるといいですね。
Bro gone. Hopefully it'll clear up some of the misunderstandings and prejudices against you. I hope so too. Thank you very much, Mathis. Mathis is a little sweetie pie, but love him. Mathis smiled at me gently, considering my peace of mind first. Even though he must still be coming to terms with the death of his brother's killer.
事件が解決したからと、せっかくの縁が途切れてしまうのも惜しい。
It's quite a waste to end this friendship simply because the incident has been resolved.
イブさんや皆さんとは今後も良き交流を続けさせていただけると嬉しいですね。
I would be happy if we could all continue having a good relationship like before.
喜んで。機会があればぜひクルーンのお店ま
I
で
don't like
遊
you,
びに
but
来
I'll
てよ。
agree with that. Absolutely. Come by Karoon anytime, even just for a friendly chat.
はい。楽しみにしてます。
Oh, okay. I'll stop by one day. Nighttime. After being stopped on our way back, we returned later than expected.
注意してから1日も経たねえうちに早速振り回してんじゃねえよバカ。
Yeah, so this is what he meant by shenanigans. Or by dragging us into things. You idiots, I can't believe you already dragged her into your shenanigans. Hugo returned before us, having heard what happened earlier. He hit Yves with a stern hand chop away from his wounds.
うん、さすがに反省してます。けどまさか小鳥探しであんな大騒ぎになるなんて。
Yeah, I'm sorry. I never expected looking for a bird would cause so much commotion. I'm just glad the roof didn't crumble where the people were. Of course that didn't mean I was glad that Yves was the only one hurt. I looked at him to see if he was still doing alright. Yves, the bandage on your hand is falling off.
ん？ああ、本当だ。せっかく君が丁寧に手当てしてくれたのに。
Huh? You're right. And after you did so much to patch me up too. I can wrap your hand again.
それじゃあお言葉に甘えて。新しい包帯を持ってくるから少し待ってて。
If you don't mind then. I'll get some new bandages, so just hang on a moment. And with that, Yves headed to the back, his loose bandages fluttering along the way.
悪いな、こんな遅くまで。大方、あいつのお人よしのせいで余計な道草食ったってとこだろ。
Sorry to keep you here for so long. I bet you guys took a while to get back because of all his friendly chit-chat. Well, yes, but it was a great opportunity to learn how much everyone likes Yves.
慕われてる。ね。まあ、間違っちゃいないんだが。
Likes, huh? Well, that's true, but...
あんま、イブのことを盲目的に信じるなよ。あいつはあんたが思ってるような人間じゃない。
Don't believe everything you see or hear about Yves. He's not the kind of person you might think he is. Huh? I never thought I would hear such a thing from Yves' own partner. After a short silence, Hugo shrugged as if to say it didn't matter.
イブは見ての通り典型的なお人よしだ。信じるなとは言ったが、その点に裏はね。
As you can see, Yves is what you would call a goody two-shoes. That much is true.
相棒としてのひいき目を抜きにしても、あいつはこの国で一番信頼できる前世の持ち主と断言できる。
Even if I weren't his partner, I'd say he was the most good-natured, trustworthy guy in the country. Then, what did you mean earlier?
前世が過ぎるあまり、あいつ一周回ってバカになってんだよ。
He's too nice that you can also say that he's just plain stupid.
誰かを助けるためなら、自分がどれだけ傷ついても構わず、無茶や無謀を押し通すんだ。
He always forces himself to do good unto others, even if it means hurting himself. Stupid? That was a terrible thing to say. But I also remember how Yves fell through the roof of the church and gave little to no thought about his injuries. idiot sandwich. But doesn't that mean he's just kind-hearted?
ああ、最初はみんな揃ってそう言うな。イブはいいやつ。何があっても彼への信頼は揺るがない。いい友人だってよ。
Yeah, everyone says that at first. They say Yves is a great guy and a dependable friend.
だがあんただって、いつかは今までの奴らと同じように。
But I bet it won't take long for you to be like the others. Oh, the ones that quit after a month? The others?
ああ、いや、なんでもね。
Never mind what I said.
とにかく悪いな。初めての仕事だったのに大騒ぎになっちまって。
In any case, I'm sorry about what you went through, especially considering that this was your first work order. No, I'm glad I was able to hear your opinion about Yves. Not to mention, I had a great time being able to walk outside without worrying all things to him. He's the embodiment of carefree. Nice to know that can rub off on a person. Something's off. Wonder what he means. After having something light to eat at Karun, Yves escorted me back to the orphanage. I'm talking about something to eat, I'm kinda hungry. I asked Mother, who was waiting to hear my report, to come to my room, where I began to speak about what happened.
優しく強く、皆からも頼られる。他人の幸せのために尽くす好青年。
A young man who is kind, strong, trusted, and relied upon by many, who works to bring happiness to others.
まるで冒険譚に出てくる理想的な主人公のような人ね、イブさんって。
Yves sounds like a perfect hero that appears in a tale of adventure. That analogy suits him well. But Yves isn't a hero in a story. He's just an ordinary person. Which is why I don't want him to be so rash when he does things. Or something bad could happen.
本当に。彼といいお友達になれたようで、よかったわ。
I must say, I'm very happy you found a very good friend. Mother listened to my report with joy. But then she suddenly paused for a moment.
こんなことならもっと早く。彼とあなたを再会させてあげるべきだったかしら。
If this is what you would experience, then I should have brought you two together sooner. Bring us together, not introduce? Was I reading Mother's regretful words correctly? Don't tell me. The reason I didn't meet Yves sooner is because...
ええ、偶然ではなく、アドルフや彼を引き取った施設と相談して会わせないようにしていたの。
Yes, it's no coincidence. I asked Adolf in the orphanage that took him in to keep him away from you.
あの火事の件で、あなたがますます自分を追い込んでしまうことのないようにと。
I didn't want you to question yourself any more than needed because of that fire. So Yves came to this orphanage, only while I was in my room. In turn, Yves was assigned to patrol a distant area as a corps member so that he wasn't near where I went shopping for goods. But the Bureau incidents and the false accusations pitted on me changed things. She couldn't keep me from finally meeting him, since he was the deputy director at the corps. Mother explained everything regretfully. I see. I could only return a simple reply.
怒らないの？
I mean, a little bit, but we met in the end, so I guess it's fine. Aren't you upset? How could I be? You arranged everything for my sake and everyone's sake, and everyone else's. Your worries were justified too. And the way we eventually encountered each other was perfect in bringing us together as friends. If I accidentally met Yves somewhere out in the town, there was no telling what the results would have been. The circumstances were suitable. It would be like any other encounter. I would probably run away in fear without apologizing, and end up hurting him more. When I thought about it, why did I run away in the first place? Yves was so beautiful back then. There was nothing to be afraid of. I let out a sigh of disappointment, thinking about my past. Mother misunderstood my sigh as being angry, so she apologized. I hurriedly corrected her misunderstanding. The next day, the work order asked for the three of us. We were to go and assist a certain farmer. A number of reliable families existed in the northwest side of the country, where they focused on agriculture and livestock. Our mission today was to help one of them. Hugo would be handling the horses. Yves and I would be tending to the field of vegetables and flowers to improve the field quality. Before getting right into work, Yves and I looked at the paper from the clients with a list of what was needed.
この2種の野菜を次の季節に収穫できるようにしてくれって書いてあるけど。
It says he wants these two types of vegetables to grow so that they can be harvested next season, but
この2つって見た目は似てるけど、一緒に植えると成長を邪魔し合っちゃうんだよね。
the two look similar. But if you plant the seeds close to each other, they get in the way of each other's growth.
与える肥料も違うものになるだろうし、間違えないよう別々の畑に植えた方がいいかな。
The fertilizer needs are different too, so it might be better to grow them in a different part of the field. Sounds good to me. It's reassuring to be with someone so knowledgeable. After Yves determined a plan of action, I rolled up my skirt a bit and got right into planting seeds as instructed by him. I never thought seeding a field would be this tiring. Focusing on efficiency, I needed to work smoothly by crouching and standing each time over and over. It sounds very strenuous. My stamina drained steadily, and my back slowly began to ache. I thought it wouldn't be too different from planting flowers at the orphanage. In turn, Yves was quickly and smoothly planting the seeds in the ground, while removing the weeds he encountered. You really are good at this, Yves. No wonder you're Adolf's teacher.
慣れだよ慣れ。俺は子供の頃から植物に触れて育ってきたからね。
You just need to get used to it. I can only do this because I've grown plants ever since I was a kid. The knowledge he shared with me earlier was something I had never heard of before. At the very least, I was sure what he told me was something that wasn't taught at the orphanage or in class. Did someone teach you how to grow and cultivate vegetables, Yves?
いたよ。両親じゃなくてじいさまがいろんな植物との触れ合い方を教えてくれた。
Sure, my grandpa taught me how to handle different kinds of plants.
俺も個人的にも植物、特に花を育てるのが好きだから、いろいろ交配を試してる。
I personally like plants, especially flowers. So I sometimes breed the flowers I grow. Breed?
異なる色や花同士を組み合わせて、人工的に新しい種類の花を作り出すことだよ。
It's a method where you combine different flowers together to create a new breed of flower. Wow, you can do that? I always thought that flowers and their colors were set as soon as they started growing.
大半の人はそう思ってるはずだよ。施設で習う知識じゃないしね。
Most people think so. I don't think it's taught to be common knowledge. That means...
俺の家だけに伝わる口伝なんだ。何でもご先祖様が植物、特に花が好きだったらしくて。
It's a method that was passed down in my family. One of my ancestors really liked plants, especially flowers.
彼が独自に研究した植物についての知識を代々口伝で残し続けてるんだって。俺もじいさまから聞いたんだ。
He conducted research on plants and passed his knowledge down through generations. I learned what I know from my grandpa. Ancestors? Grandfather? There were no elderly people in this country, so it was hard to imagine what they looked like aside from being young, but I bet they were gentle and caring like you, Yves. And I remember you said that your knowledge about ingredients and cooking was passed down through your family too.
そうそう。それもじいさまが植物の知識と一緒に残した家訓だからって実践形式で教えてくれたんだ。
Yeah. My grandpa taught me hands-on, just like how he taught me everything I needed to know about plants. Yves squinted his eyes as if reminiscing.
目に入った人間以外の生物はすべて食べられると思え。食えるときに食っておけ。
He told me to assume that any living organism besides humans were edible, and that I should eat whenever I had the chance.
懐かしいな。じいさまと二人、新しい食材を試食するたびに倒れて、試行錯誤で食べる方法を探してたっけ。
Oh gosh. It only feels like yesterday. Grandpa and I would get sick every time we tested a new ingredient to find something new to eat. He comes from a family of foodies. I was just glad they didn't consider humans to be food. It's so nice to have the same hobbies and tastes as someone you look up to.
うん。じいさまのことは世界で一番尊敬してる。
Yeah. I respect my grandpa more than anyone in the world.
俺もあの人のように、どんなことがあっても花を愛せる人間になりたい。
I want to be just like him. A person who can love flowers no matter what. Yves really loves his grandfather, doesn't he? As someone who had no memory of her parents, I was slightly jealous. But the fact that Yves later was admitted into an orphanage must mean something happened to that person. Even so, he was blessed with such a loving grandchild who looked up to him. I was sure he was proud of having Yves around. Hugo. Oh, we get a Hugo point of view.
ああ、今回も俺だけ仲間外れか。
Sort of leaving me out of again. Oh, third wheel.
こう何度もよそのお嬢さんに相棒の世話を押し付けちまうのは申し訳ねえな。
I feel bad I keep forcing her to take care of my own partner like this.
そうか？あの二人案外うまくやってるみたいだぞ。
What if you ask me? Looks like those two are doing just fine.
ほら、顔はうっすらとしか見えないが、楽しそうに作業してるじゃないか。
Look, I can barely see their expressions from here, but they look like they're having fun.
例の死神が来ると聞いたときは気が気じゃなかったけど。
I was a bit scared when you guys told me that Death Girl was gonna come too, but
イブの前じゃ普通の愛らしいお嬢さんにしか見えないな。
in front of Yves,
噂ってのも当てにならないね。
she looks like any other lovely girl. Just goes to show that rumors aren't always reliable.
寂しいからってふてくされるなよ。ヒューゴ元坊ちゃん。だいたいイブは
Now don't get all huffy just because you're left out, former Master Hugo. Besides,
あの呪われた顔のせいでうちの馬に怯えられてるんだから、一緒に作業できないのは仕方な。
it can't be helped that the two of you can't work together because his cursed face scares the heck out of the horses.
悪かった。今のは失言だったな。
My mistake. It just slipped.
謝るぐらいなら最初から言うんじゃねえよ。
If you're going to apologize, don't say a thing like that in the first place.
どんな相手にもお優しいクーネの英雄様なら何を言っても怒らない。
Do you think you can say anything to the kind hero of Coin without him getting angry?
なんて思ってんじゃねえだろうな。いや。
Sure hope that's not what you're thinking. Wait.
思ってんだろうな。お前もクーネの連中もついでにあいつ自身も。
I bet that is what you're thinking. You and everyone in Coin, and even Yves himself.
だがまあ、今回ばかりは俺にも理解できねえわ。
Then again, I don't really understand him this time.
なんであんなヘラヘラ笑ってやがんだよ。あいつは。
Why in the world is he smiling like some goof with her around? I think Hugo's jealous. After washing off dirt from our clothes, we took a break over some lunch that I prepared. The farmer asked Yves whether he had spare time, then asked Yves and me to take care of his sheep for an additional fee. The sheep were scared of us at first, but it seemed like they got used to us after a few minutes of us chasing after them. After wrangling a few of them to the feeding area, the other sheep gathered naturally to the area without our help. I've actually taken care of sheep a couple of times. Our family we have a family friend who owns a sheep farm. Occasionally, when we're down that way, we visit them, and I help take care of the sheep.
走り回って疲れたね。一段落ついたし、次の指示が来るまでは休もっか。
That was tiring. Now that they're together in the same area, I guess we can rest until something else pops up. Yves naturally took my hand as he beckoned me to sit. As if in sync with us, the sheep began to lie down as we both took a seat on the ground. The round and fluffy sheep slowly dozed off under the warm sun.
羊と触れ合うのは初めて？
Is this the first time you've handled sheep? Yes, or rather, this is the first time I've touched any animal. I never knew how nice it feels to have animals being friendly and close to you.
かわいい分、お世話も大変だけどね。羊たちがリコリスを食べようとしたときは、さすがに焦った。
You're cute, but it can be tedious. I can't imagine what I went through when they try to eat the licorices. I wonder if the licorices or the curse of death affect animals. I've never heard of animals dying from the curse. Yves pondered for a moment to think about my curious thoughts.
リコリスはともかく、死神の呪いは効かないんじゃない？
Licorices aside, I don't think the curse of death has any effect on the animals.
前にクルーンの仕事で寿命を迎えた牛を見とったことがあるけど、それらしい発作は出てなかったし。
I was tending to a cow that reached the end of its life, but I didn't notice any signs of the curse when it died. I see. Which means the curse only affected humans. That said, there were no animals here that could live longer than 23 years. So there was no way of knowing for sure. Maybe Uncle knows something about the curse, but maybe he can't talk about it either. Still, I was a bit relieved. Imagine, your animal can outlive you. Depending on the animal. Or when you get it. But your animal could outlive you. That's kind of sad. Did you hear that? Cute little sheep? It seems like you're safe. But it's dangerous to eat licorice flowers. So don't ever try to eat them, even if you're hungry. Yes. Yes, Oras, we hear you. Yikes! Yikes indeed. A sudden shock came from the front. A spirited lamb came jumping into me as it bleated. Unable to take the charge, I fell back lightly onto the back of a large sheep. I wonder what it wants.
この子たち、君は働きすぎだからもっと休めって言いたいんじゃないかな。
Maybe it's trying to say that you're working too hard, so you should rest. Look. There's another one. Oh gosh, large one. This time, Yves was charged by a large sheep and fell backwards, just like me, onto the herd of sheep. I checked to see if I was injured, but all I felt around me was... They're so soft and fluffy. The warmth and softness of the sheep made my cheeks blush red. Yves, who was also leaning on one of the sheep, laughed until his shoulders shook.
いい笑顔だね。楽しい？うちの仕事。
Look at you smile. So the work we do here is fun, right? Yes, very much so. But is it really alright to have something so nice happen to us during work?
それはもちろん。いや、感じ取れなければ、クルーンの仕事をしてる意味がない。
Well, of course. I mean, if you're not having fun, what meaning is there in working at Karoon?
この国では、自分と縁のない他人とつながる機会なんて、ほとんどない。
There are practically zero opportunities to form bonds with others in this country.
みんな、 自分や大切な人の命を未来につなぐことだけに毎日必死になってるからね。
Everyone is focusing their efforts and doing their best every day just to lead themselves and their loved ones into the future.
でも国中からいろんな依頼が舞い込んでくるこの仕事なら、
But this job brings in work from all over the country and from all sorts of people.
どんな人間が自分と故郷を同じくしている同郷なのか、それを知ることができる。
What that means is that you can learn whether someone grew up in the same hometown. He told me how wonderful that was. Hearing Yves made me mutter a certain word. Hometown. I kept muttering the same word over and over again without much reason. I knew what the word meant, but it was the first time I heard it being used. The reason was because everyone laminated the fact that they were born in this deathly unfortunate country. Hometown, homeland. No one used words of affection for their country, even in casual discussions. But
俺はクルーンの仕事を通してそれを知り、少しでも故郷を愛せるようになりたい。
I want to learn more about my hometown through work at Karun, so that I can learn to love it.
自分の生まれた場所を死ぬまで否定し続けるのは悲しいからね。
I mean, it is pretty sad to continue hating and denying the place you were born until you die. He told me with a smile that it was too early to be satisfied with what I knew now. I do think the work at Karun is very nice, but I doubt I have it in me to actually love this country. No. If those I know were born in another country, they might live a life of happiness without any worry about death. So I don't know if I can love this country. But I really do think what you said is nice and wonderful, Yves. If I can, I would love to know more about the people who share my hometown too. What I was saying was true. Sensing that I was doing my best to relay my feelings, Yves nodded and gave a happy smile. Still, I'm astounded by how kind you are, even to the point of loving this country, Yves.
優しいか。セレス、俺は間違っても君が思ってるような善人じゃない。
Kind, huh? Ceres, just so you know, I'm not the good person you think I am. Huh?
今のはあくまでクルーンをして気づいたやりがいの話であって、始めた理由じゃない。
This is just what I found to be rewarding about working at Karun. Not the reason why I started the business.
俺がみんなの力になり愛したいと思うのは決して純然たる優しさではなく、下心あってのもの。
The reason why I try to help and show my love to everyone isn't because I'm kind, but because I have an ulterior motive. What do you mean by that?
間違っても無償の献身なんかじゃないってことだよ。むしろ意味としては対極の位置にある。
I'm saying that I'm not doing what I'm doing out of selflessness. The reason behind my actions is the total opposite.
だから君もあんまり俺のことを信用しちゃダメ。都合よく利用されるかもしれないからね。
Which is why you shouldn't trust me. For all you know, I might try to abuse you in some way. His warning sounded untrue. I shouldn't trust him? I shouldn't trust the person who always treated me no differently from anyone else. Judging by his expression, he isn't saying that out of humility. But if he really is deceiving me by acting nice, then he wouldn't make the effort to warn me like this. I'm not sure what I should say, but... I say... Not that. I say I'm gonna save and end stream. That is what I say. What you say? Okay, sorry. Anyway, yeah, I'm getting kind of tired and getting tongue-tied. Oh, hey Genji again. I like it. I like Yves. Yves seems like a sweetheart, even though he's apparently trying to convince us otherwise. But yes, we are gonna end it here. Oh, I'm actually ending right now. We've been going for 5 hours, and I'm getting a little hungry, and I'm starting to trip over my words. So yeah. I'm gonna get some food. Nah, too late at night to bake. But I'm gonna get a little snack. Get some of the fry bread I made the other day, and some of the homemade whipped cream and berries, and have that as my snack. Alright, you take care as well, Genji. Thank you for coming. Thank you for hanging out. And thank you to everyone else who came by today and hung out. So we'll continue Yves' roots next week. Tomorrow is Twisted Wonderland Day. Book 7. So look forward to that. And, yeah. So, I hope everyone enjoyed the time. And I hope that everyone has a nice night, evening, afternoon, or morning. So I'm gonna go get food, do a little stuff here on the computer, and then go to bed. So thanks again for coming, and I'll see y'all later again. Oof. Alright, well... We started Yves' roots. We'll get through as much as we can next week, but... It'll probably take 2 more weeks to get through Yves' roots, start to finish. I estimate. But until then... Stay safe, everyone. Don't go getting yourself hurt like Yves, and don't throw people into a love cage. I don't know. Alright. Anyway, y'all having a good night. I'll see you later. Alright. Bye. Bye-bye.